I don't know how we made it through that weekend, but we made it. And if you thought, I'll tell you what, Eric, if you thought Kansas was a tough one to watch, this last game at home, it was like watching snails have sex. It was just not entertaining, slimy, and disgusting. And the only highlight was the fact that we got to see got to see some fresh young talent out there. But as soon as they get going, they get hurt. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what happens with Nico, what's next for the Mountaineers, and then what's next as a fan. What can we hold on to? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So bear with us while we do that. Let's go to the chat real quick, see who we have. We got Coop and Jackson. Hey, so Eric, what are your thoughts, initial gut reaction to that Utah debacle?
It was every bit as bad as what we feared it could be. I think I was hoping that Henderson would be a little bit more ready for the start. I think everybody saw the first series just didn't go well for him. Doesn't mean that it can't do better, because that's the thing. Everybody can improve. As far as what I was looking for at this point of the season, I'm looking for things we can build on. What are players who are showing they've got promise? And I saw actually a good bit of that. I know the score was awful, but I saw a lot of offensive players kind of step up. Quite honestly, the defense actually had a couple bright spots too, but the defense, I think, finally just got shredded, and it finally caught up with us, with missing tackles and such.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? We can't beat it. We're not going to sit here and beat a dead horse and look at the stats. It's like, how dead is dead? I mean, and the Mountaineer program right now is dead. And the high point, I think, if you're a Mountaineer fan and Rich Rod manages like 2 or 3 more wins, you should be happy. I'm going to be happy, because that at 5-7, that's what the prognosticators, and a couple weeks back we said Vegas knows. Well, that's what they've been telling us. And we're going to go through the West Virginia schedule, and where can West Virginia be competitive? We'll find that out. But Eric, I'm going to ask you this: do you think, silver lining, West Virginia might find the quarterback of the future, or is Rich Rod still in the hunt? Because we're going to talk about some of the recruits that came in and were, unofficially signed. But what are your thoughts there? Is the quarterback in house? Or are they going to is Rich Rod still shopping?
Shane, thanks, man. I love the direction you're taking the show. Very good take too. There's no point in plowing, replowing earth. I think Rich has not given up on the season. No. I don't think he's making excuses. I think he's calling out mistakes that the team is making and calling it like it is. We just didn't play well enough here. He's calling out very well, about as specific as he can be without throwing people under the bus. And he's taken ownership himself. That being said, I think he hasn't given up on this season. Quite honestly, you look at the Pitt game, and I think we're finding out maybe Pitt isn't as good as what we might have thought, but we saw a lot of positive things there. I think he's still looking for that quarterback. I think we get a couple different running backs in there that can be a little elusive. Edwards, can run through the first tackle, can make people miss. I'm really, from what I saw film on Katzer, I don't think he's given up. We get a few players in there, you can definitely be competitive. Last Saturday we weren't. And if you can be competitive in the run game with this offense, it gives you a chance to be, to have a passing game. So I don't think he's given up, but Rich is always, right. I don't want to play poker with him. He's already looking to the future too.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations, if West Virginia has an opportunity to stay close, and he says this multiple times, Rich Rod, if he can keep it close later on in the game, it doesn't matter how distraught and how upset these players are, he can get these guys to play in the third and fourth quarter. And you've seen the third and fourth quarter when they're down, these guys are still playing tough and playing with some intensity. My thoughts are, he's definitely beating the bushes, and he knows that this is year zero. This isn't year one. We thought this would be year one. It's year zero. An article came out today I read from the Dominion Post. We all know the Dominion Post. It's the local paper. So there were some recruits in the stands, and the Mountaineers picked up two of them. One Sunday and one this morning. So the one this morning blew my mind, but Sunday, a 3-star quarterback. His name is Wyatt Brown. They like to go with a lot of kids by the name of Brown at quarterback. Played at West Virginia, huh? So 3-star quarterback Brown announced that he's going to be going to West Virginia from Notre Dame High School in Sherman Oaks, California. When I think of Sherman Oaks, I think of the Brady Bunch. But Brown is ranked as 63rd quarterback and the 277th player in California. So, well, Eric, he's Cal, Arkansas, Cornell, Central Florida, all have kind of thrown their hat in the ring and said, hey, listen, you can come play ball for me. But this 6'3", 200-pound kid, he threw for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns his last game, and he ran for another. So he's definitely, one of the better players in Los Angeles. And for Rich Rod to go over to the West Coast, I don't know how he swung this, but Brown's the first quarterback for Rich Rod. What are your thoughts?
I like the fact that Rich even mentioned in the press conference, they asked him, they specifically asked him, do we look just through the transfer portal to build a team or what do we do? And Rich said, no, look, we can always, pull kids from the transfer portal, but we really want to pull kids in as freshmen. And we want to develop that culture. And I really like that idea because, quite honestly, if we become that program that pull in kids from the transfer portal, basically you're just a team of free agents. And I think you want to build some kids in early, get them into the system. I think it's a better approach, especially at skill positions. I think, a key skill position. I'm also going to throw a little, I think also at line, offensive line. So yeah, good fit. And Rich is great too, by the way, at picking the right players to be in his system.
Yeah, the Monday morning guy was a pass rusher. I think he's like 6'5" and maybe 2 1/4, 230, something like that. But they liked the atmosphere. This guy was getting recruited by Ohio State. I don't know if they offered him, a scholarship, but that gives me just a little bit of hope moving forward, that even despite getting blown out 2 games in a row, Rich Rod's able to pull in a recruit. There also was some articles about previous recruits and what they thought at the Pitt game. And that was, even though some of those kids didn't sign, they had nothing but great things to say about, Morgantown. So, the product might not be what we want to see on the field, but the program is in a good, healthy spot. And when Rich Rod starts getting that money rolling back in, and starts getting the NIL going and developing some, 30 or 40% of his players are developed from freshmen, and they're able to keep these guys. Don't want to lose them like they did with CJ. Once they become rock stars, you just can't pay them what they're worth. But I think that's what success looks like for the Mountaineers. But what are your thoughts, Eric?
Man, that's actually a much bigger question than it appears.
Yeah, it's like, what color is a Black Panther? But they have spots, and they're like colors, and it's tricky.
Well, so the notion that I honestly think, like, if you let's put it this way, if we had 3 If we could take 3 offensive linemen
Yeah.
and elevate their play, I'm not even talking the whole line. I'm just talking 3. Can you imagine how much different this team might be right now? It
No.
could be very different.
Yeah, and you take that injury out, that White got. I mean, they would definitely be a lot more competitive. You're talking 6 or 7 wins, but
Oh,
unfortunately,
absolutely.
yeah,
Well, and I'm sorry, and the reason I point this out is I was just reading an article today about people who are successful managers. And a lot of times people get labeled as successful if things go well. But really, that means that things went well. It doesn't mean they made good decisions. It doesn't mean they, had good, sound, logical reasons for their actions. And unfortunately, that's life. And I think that's where we are here. But I think if you can see, people are seeing that Rich is making some good decisions. Things aren't panning out well. I mean, the injury thing is just unbelievable. We're decimated. I at the beginning of the season, I was the one who said, "Oh, we got plenty of running backs." Man, am I eating those words?
man, it's
So I
fast how
think we're.
dropped.
What's that?
It's funny how it's not funny. It's just amazing how they just dropped off lost one guy, lost another one.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody could have called this. I mean, somebody knew something, but the irony is thick. But I think people see that the program's headed in the right direction. I think people see that for the lack of a few key positions playing better. I'm not even saying anything about I'm not knocking the guys. They're working. And I did actually see, I forget our right, I think it was the right tackle this week played better, significantly better. And I was pleased to see that. So the pieces are there. And then the program itself, not even the things you see in the coaching staff, but the environment, the stadium, the fan base. Uh, I think we have a lot to offer a lot of recruits.
Now, I want to ask the chat, Coop, do you know if Rod Hughley is still in the mix? That's in April is when I think he said he's going to come here, and he was recruited by Penn State, by Pitt. I mean, I think I'm trying to think, Miami, Minnesota. I'm trying to think who else. Basically, Florida State. Everybody wants this kid. So he's like a real fast guy, 6'1", 6'2", maybe $175. Really fast guy. I think he's a junior, maybe a senior. But if he's still, let me know in the chat if he's still coming. He's committed. He's committed. So he is a talented guy, and that's just I have to I have to look up and see the stats for him. But if he's a junior or senior, class of 2026. So he'll be rolling in here pretty soon. If they can keep him, he is definitely and when I think of the prototypical Rich Rod, it's not Brown, it's Pat White. I mean, he's the standard. I mean, it's just like back in the day with Cindy Crawford or what's the Kim Basinger back in Batman days in the 80s. Those were the standard for Pat White is that man. He is the baddest man in all of Mountaineer land, and he was in 05, and he's on the field now as a coach. But that is what that's your Superman, and that's what Rich Rod would love to see. Not the same guy, but in that mold.
You're Rasheed Marshall. You're Jarrett Brown. Can you imagine if Terrell Pryor had come here and honored his commitment? But not knocking Terrell. He made business decisions. But yeah, mobile quarterbacks. And again, I think it's the kind of thing that Rich knows the right player for the right system. I'd love to see this Jared come, but we'll see. A lot of good gets for the program, considering that it's not been an easy year so far.
Yeah, and they are kind of reaching out to folks, trying to to see what I got a email ask me what the fan experience was. Like, how did you like your trip to Mountaineer Field and all this other stuff? I didn't answer it this week because I didn't go, but they're trying to build a great atmosphere, and they're doing that. But until those players get into Morgantown, we start seeing a couple W's. It's going to be rough. But let's talk the next segment, about the schedule, what's coming up for the Mountaineers. And, if you're a football fan and West Virginia starts losing, don't start thinking about next year. But next year, this article came out 3 hours ago. It says Nico could miss several weeks, but Rich Rod wants the West Virginia doctors involved. That puts my spidey senses up and makes me think, and I'm going to be a shithead saying this. This is just, this is just Shane. This is what Shane thinks. There's no basis behind other than just being around for 50 years. I think he's tapping out. I think he's done. I think he's had it. Rich Rod lost his shit one too many times. He is a class act. Nico kept his mouth shut, was real professional. Even when the other coach was yelling at him last week, he's a good dude. He knows he can still have another year added, use this medical year. Went to doctors on his own, didn't go to WVU doctors. Hint, hint. So I think he's going to pull, and I'm not going to throw shade, but there was a certain basketball player that was son of a certain coach at West Virginia that,
that old trick shoulder.
Yeah, the old war injury. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's fighting Al-Qaeda's. I had an Amish guy ask me one time. He's like, and lived by my parents, and after September 11th, he's like, "You were in the Army." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Did they ever catch those two fellas?" And I'm like, "There's only two fellas?" He's like, the Al and the Qaeda guy. I said, "No, they haven't caught either one of those, Ruben." But anyway, so that makes me think that Nico might be like the grass is going to be greener. This is basically this season behind me. I'm not going to be playing for a starting position. I can't give the kid any heat for it. I mean, I can't really hit on him because it's a business decision. He's taking care of himself. It was convenient that he lost his starting job right at the fourth game, so now he still has a full year eligibility if he's hurt. But Rich Rod's calling his bluff and saying he wants West Virginia doctors to look at him. What are your thoughts there? Am I batshit crazy? I've been told that before, but I eat crayons, just the 8-pack, not the 64.
That's not true. If you're batshit crazy, it's not for this reason. And I said the same as much last week. And so we're the shithead brothers. I do not wish him any ill. I think very highly of Nico. I've loved him since he committed. Loved him from his first interview. If you'll remember, after he led his high school team to a comeback in the state championship, a remarkable comeback, which I think most people, myself included, if that had been me, I would have been so caught up in the moment. I would have been, all about my team at the moment. But he sang Country Roads in that interview while he was in high school and let the fans know he was coming. He has bled blue and gold ever since. Right. So how could you not love this kid? He has given it his all. He reminds me of Brad Lewis, great quarterback, a lot of skill, a lot of talent, super IQ, super high. He's just not the right quarterback for us. I don't think he's got the foot speed. And if our line were better, I think this would go better. But as we're seeing, because we're swapping in so many different quarterbacks, it's not. I don't think it's necessarily his fault. The offensive lines can't buy him enough time. He's going to end up getting beat to death here. And why he's going to have a lot of interest from a lot of other schools. A red shirt this year will buy him another year of salary, and he can go play somewhere else, and maybe somewhere where maybe things work out. He has a shot at the next level, because I do think he has potential to play at the next level. I don't know that he'll be a starter or anything like that, but he'd probably make a practice squad. for sure, I would think.
Yeah, maybe a practice squad, but I mean, I think it is a good business decision for him. But with what's left, let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about what's left. You got Jalen Henderson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Max Brown,
Mm-hmm.
Malik, and Fox.
Khalil.
Khalil.
Khalil and Fox. Yeah.
Yeah. Malik, Khalil, and Fox. Everybody's thinking it's going to be who? I've read different things, but I don't think Jalen's is going to be starting next week.
Every fan base loves them some backup quarterback. And I think that's common no matter where you go. And it's because the backup quarterbacks get in and they usually don't face a lot of times they're facing a number of starters from the opposing team, but they're not facing the entire starting defense. They're playing guys who are in there and then they got that are the starters, and then they've got guys that the opposing team is trying to bring along and trying to develop. So of course they are looking a little bit better. Um, Khalil looked fantastic. He really did. I was very impressed with what I saw from him. He is still, in my opinion, a little bit of a liability to bring in as a starter. And I'm not knocking him one bit. I'm just thinking he's a little bit green still. I think
Right.
Henderson's probably still our starter. And I'm basing that on experience, even with his less than stellar first series. But
Yes.
I think you give him another shot. And if he and then I would have Khalil on speed dial, have him ready to go in. And I hate to say that because I'm a big Scotty Fox fan, but I think Khalil earned the right to be number two. What do you think?
I'll tell you what. I think they're all neck and neck. It's like a horse race. It's like one guy's ahead, another guy's ahead, like coming up the rear. It's like with that 30s accent. Mountaineer Paul can do a great one. They're like, oh, here we go, fellas. But hey, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Max Brown to me had a real flash. Like he looked like he was on fire, and then he just did that jumping over. You like, coach has to sit this guy down and say, "Listen, man, you want to
Business
play, you want
decisions.
to run track, you want to do the hurdles, but I can't have my quarterback leaping over people. You're not Saquon Barkley, and this is not. I loved it. I loved the fact that grit, and he was getting after it. These guys are trying to get after it and trying to earn a spot when they're down 4 touchdowns. I mean, there were 7 times that Utah had the ball out of 8 that they scored. That's a bad day. And and we're not going to get in the stats, but the defense was supposed to be top 20. I was saying they're top 20. They're good. They just had a bad week. No,
I said the
guys,
same thing.
they're suspect. And it's tough if you're not on the field much. If you're on the field too much and your offense isn't helping you out, are they as bad as what we think they are? Probably not. Zach Alley, a good coach. You're damn right he's a good coach. But you can't prepare for West Virginia because you don't know what quarterback you're getting. That makes it a little bit difficult. So Henderson can't throw. That is a true statement, Eric. I would give him a C. He's probably like a C minus.
Well, I'm going to backtrack if it's okay.
Oh yeah,
real quick.
I'm just getting excited.
Hey man, we're all excited. There's still plenty to be excited for, honestly. So Utah has probably the best offensive line we've seen to this point. I don't think that's a terribly big stretch. And I think that hurt our defense. Now, is our defense still pretty darn good? Yeah, they are. But Utah's offensive line, no, they are legit. So that really shredded us because, again, once you can establish the run, which they ran all over us. Once you establish a run, your offense can do a whole bunch of things. And so I think that really hurt us. As far as Jalen goes, he's having trouble now, and I think all of our quarterbacks are, and it's because they're running for their lives. There's just not a whole lot of time for them. I mean, let's spare the quarterbacks for a second. There's not even enough time for the receivers to run their deep routes. That's why we're not seeing shots being taken downfield for Cam Vaughn, who is, by the way, a tremendous athlete. He is a phenomenal receiver, and I know he's getting a lot of attention from other defenses, but we can't get the ball to him because he doesn't have time. The quarterbacks, if the receivers don't have the time, the quarterbacks have even less because they're trying to read several options. So I think that's the thing, is that if Jalen gets a little more time, I think his passing will improve. He did much better elsewhere before he came here. His passing percentage was, I think it was somewhere like near, I want to say like high 60s, low 70s percentage. But right now, yeah, he's having trouble. I think they all are.
Yeah, I think they're all struggling. And if Nico can't even get it going, it goes back to, you want to have a solid running back in the backfield to give you a little bit of breathing room.
Yep.
You know, and then a quarterback can get to the outside, also spreads that defense out. But you know, that running game makes those defensive backs come up a little bit, and you can actually push that ball, get a couple throws down the field, north and south. Said this to the flat, to the the sideline. I mean, now Max looked pretty good until he got a little dinged up. That happens. Every one of those guys, I feel okay just watch. I mean, now that West Virginia is pretty much, I think they only have a 4% chance of making the Big 12 championship. So with those odds, I like seeing some young guys play. Let's get some development going.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the field and this is your senior year or you're a junior, it has to be difficult to be playing through this, every week. Are we going to be riding the struggle bus? Are we going to be competitive? Injuries. It's great if you're a guy that didn't think you're going to get time and you're third or fourth on the bench, and all of a sudden it's your time to shine because, is this a stepping stone for these guys to go to a Miami of Ohio or to maybe a smaller school like James Madison, get a little bit of money, or be that big, that medium-sized fish in a smaller pond instead of just being overlapped by all this. They do have some talent at West Virginia. They have spent some money. I mean, the quarterback room, we don't know what they spend, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know what the value is. And until the bumpers go on college football, there's, in my opinion, you sign, you stay. You get paid, you're committed for that time, for that it's a contract. And you can't jump ship unless you're released. That's my opinion, but it'd be a little bit more like the NFL, because every year you're a mercenary, you're a headhunter. You can go out and say, well, thanks for the $100,000. Ohio State's offer me, $750,000. Best wishes and Mountaineer kisses, deuces.
You need to get a side hustle where you create catchphrases for people. Well, that's excellent.
I literally worked at Hallmark for like a week.
You should have stuck with it, man. You could have been legendary.
No, I came home with glitter all over my face. My wife thought I was going to the nudie bar.
So, a couple of things, because I got into a discussion with somebody about this, because they were complaining about, gee, we're not throwing enough money at players, this, that, and the other. And I get it. People are just frustrated, and I understand that. But A, we don't know. B, Rich has support from important, alumni, boosters who are going to support him better than they've supported Neil Brown and anyone else not named Rich Rodriguez. And that being said, Rich got hired a little late for the carousel, and people forget that.
Great point, Eric. That's absolutely right. That's why it's year zero. I mean, it's year zero. The money start rolling in after, think about it. It's like, hey, here's a shopping list you got to cook for Thanksgiving. It's 4 days before Thanksgiving. But by the way, I'm only giving you $15.
Rich was going to go. He was on his way to a bowl. Yeah.
He went to a bowl with Jack State. And here we are. So flash to bang. It's not that bad. You want to know why it's not that bad? They could lose every other game and they beat Pitt.
That's right. Don't
Right?
have. I want to know, man, buddy. Where are you keeping the wiretap on me? Because I had all these conversations this weekend with
And
people.
that's how the Magic 8 Ball works. But no, seriously, the Mountaineer dreams are grown from the ground, from the tears of Rich Rod. It's like an Indian creation story. It's like Rich Rod wept on Mountaineer Field after he beat Pitt, and 5-star athletes grew from the earth. Is that going to happen?
He
No.
he plowed the turf at Mountaineer Stadium, at Milan Pushkar Stadium with the hard edge. Yeah.
He nursed them with his bosom, and they became hardened. No, that's not going to happen. But we hope that would happen. And we're going off the rails. But guys, you have to have some hope. It's going to be fun watching these young quarterbacks make some great splash plays. Mm-hmm. It's going to make it even more difficult for Rich Rod. But I'm going to pull up the schedule. And
real quick, let me actually make a point out of all that nonsense we were throwing around.
Yeah.
So this is year 0. Rich came in late. It's hard to find talent when you come in late. Now, that being said, you look at the skill players that this coaching staff brought in, they're phenomenal for this system. Running back room, fantastic. I think our receivers are great. We just haven't been able to see it very much because can't get anybody to throw them the ball because the quarterbacks are running for their lives. Again, you and I talked about this. You're looking at about 1% of the human population is over 6'4". 1%. And then you add in there another, caveat of how many of those are actually athletic enough to play offensive line. You're talking about a less than 1%. There's just not many of those human beings out there. So by the time they came along, I'm not knocking these the offensive linemen we have. They were great for coming in and they're working. Zone blocking is not exactly commonly taught. Yeah. They're either going to get better or we're going to get different recruits to come in. It's going to be that simple. I wish everybody the best. So there's plenty of reasons to hope, because to me, what you do is you keep the skill players, keep an eye out right now, take your notes like I'm doing, see who's showing you promise for the system. Even if things don't go well, the thing is you want to improve on the weak areas and keep the talent that you got. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the rest of the schedule. Thanks, Shane.
No, you definitely have to keep the talent you have. That's the biggest thing. So let me take my banner now. Mm-hmm. So this week, I have a high school football game to go to on a Friday. So we play ball on a Friday, kids. Okay, so that's crazy. And you might have to make a pot of coffee at 6. Don't start drinking it right after work, kids, because you're going to fall asleep. Because West Virginia plays at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, and they play against the BYU team that is pretty solid. Now, their head coach, I love the guy. I think he's talented. But can Nike, I'm going to talk right to the camera, Nike, get that coach a man-sized hat. They make them for adults. He doesn't have to wear children or youth hats. It's like it's like looking at a condom on a pumpkin. Like it's not good. It's bad news. So get that guy an adult hat. They even have those big ones. I saw them on the Steelers game. Those giant ones you can buy for $100 at Dick's in Morgantown. That might.
I agree with you, buddy. That man deserves a hat that fits. He is a great coach. Let's work with him. Let's get him some custom gear. He deserves better.
Just stitch 3 together and make it fit his head. I mean, Nike, you guys should be able to help him out.
Yeah.
At least last I checked, Nike was sponsoring him. But anyways, so bottom line, West Virginia travels out west. Do they have a snowball's chance in Mormon hell?
So here's a team that I picked to win the Big 12, and I'm still saying they got a chance.
Okay.
Can we beat them? Anything is possible if the problem we're having on the offensive line is something that can be rectified. If they're literally making improper reads, and they can get the blocking scheme down, and if we get some of our running backs back, I'm dying to see Kastner on the field. That guy, I think he's got a lot of potential. I think Sincere Bowers has potential too. Anything's possible. But I think the 5% chance for us to beat them, yeah, maybe a little low, but it's down there.
I say, guys, milk's $5, McDonald's is 10, steaks are 20. Put $10 on this game. Who gives a shit? Have some fun. Make it interesting for yourself. Put $10 for West Virginia to cover the spread, or at least try to be creative and have a little bit of fun. Okay, so is West Virginia going to be competitive? I don't know, and that's all I can hope for. But it's going to be late. I'm going to be watching it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think they win though, so I would give that a no. Moving on to the game. Moving on to the next game. West Virginia gets a little bit of a break the week of the 10th of the 8th. That weekend. They get a bye. They need it. They're licking their wounds. They have running backs that are the third, fourth on the depth chart getting playing time. This is a game coming off a bye week. They can get their ducks in a row, or their oars row in the same direction. Anything you want, any kind of like analogy you want to use, anything, flowery adjectives, use them, because West Virginia is going to go to the bounce house, and this is a W. Write it down, send a letter to your grandma, put it in a Christmas card, put a bow on it. This is a victory.
This is one of the 3 wins I think we can get. Doesn't mean we will get. And my main reason, although UCF has a great record so far, I don't know that they played the highest level of talent. If we can get some things figured out between now and then, that's one of the wins we can get. The bounce house itself is a lot like playing it at Pushkar Stadium. It gets wild. I mean, there's a reason why they call it the bounce house.
It reminds me of Virginia Tech in the 2004, 2003 time frame, when they first start using Enter Sandman. So, guys, that's going to be a fun week as a Mountaineer fan. We're going to have some fun here. So I think that's one. I'm actually getting goosebumps because I think that's one they can win. I think that's where they find their quarterback. That's the game where we kind of get swimming towards shore. So Saturday, October 25th, you're going to have your Halloween costume picked out, Eric, because guess what? TCU's coming into Morgantown.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts for that game? I'll let you go first.
I think we might disagree here, but I'm gonna bring my garlic to that game. My garlic and my wooden steaks. I think it's going to be a nightmare on Elm Street kind of scenario. I don't think we're going to win that game.
Yeah, I tell you what, I give West Virginia like a 30% chance there, just because it's going to be a home game. If they win at UCF, I give them a little bit better of a fighting chance. But if they take a nosedive in Florida, I think it's just all over. You're lucky to get 1 or 2 more wins. But I think that UCF game is so important. Into the right movement in the right direction. But it's TCU. I think they take a big loss there. We agree. We're on the same page. So, guys, we're almost to the end of the season, but we're not quite there yet. Houston, West Virginia goes to Houston. I have this circled as a winnable game. I think what they're going to do is they're going to split either the Colorado and Houston. They're going to win one of those. I think it's going to be Houston. I think they might pull that one off, especially if they beat UCF. Even if they don't beat UCF, I think they can still beat Houston.
I agree. Out of all the games we have left, I think this is the one we have the greatest chance to win. I definitely think Houston's talent to this date hasn't been great. And we owe them. I know I don't know that the current coaching staff maybe even feels that way, but I think the fan base does. Last year, they absolutely robbed us of a win. I know a lot has changed since then, but yeah, we owe them, and that's probably a bad idea for me to let my heart uh, jump in and speak up.
No, I was a sad panda for weeks after that. I mean, I still can't believe that they had that penalty, and then it just rails went. The train just went right off the track, and it was terrible.
Hudson makes that touchdown, and I'm like, this is going to be an instant classic for Mountaineer fans. Yep.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so is that a win for you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's a win. That's a win for me. So we're at 2 wins right now. So we're at 2 wins. I think for the season to be successful, these last 3 games, they get one more win. If they could just scrounge one more win, 5 wins, I would be happy. If they get 6 wins, they're in a bowl. So right now, they need to win 2 out of 3 to go to a bowl. Colorado at West Virginia, I think, is winnable. I think they have a fighting chance there. I give them a 70% chance of winning that.
70%.
I give that one. I mean, Colorado coming in, they have to fly across the country, take a couple airplanes, come into Morgantown. It's probably gonna. Have they announced the times for that one yet? No, they haven't. So I foresee that being a later game, maybe a 3:30 or maybe a 4. It's going to get dark. Lights are going to be on. It's going to be fun. It's going to be chilly. That's going to be a fun one. What are your thoughts?
I think out of the 3 that we have left that we can win, I think Colorado's our least chance. The game they played this last weekend was pretty solid. Yeah. I think Utah figured out the time zone change. I don't think Colorado's going to have any other problems. They played under the lights. That being said, out of the 3 last games, this I think is our best chance, and to win out of those last 3, I'm going to give us like 45 to 50. Nah, I'm going to give us a 50% chance.
So coin toss. Okay, so we're split on. I'm being optimistic just because we have a show to do. But Arizona State, I think they're going to be ranked higher come Saturday, November 15th. I think they're going to be ranked higher. I also think that Texas Tech is going to be a top five coming into Morgantown. It's going to be, even though West Virginia is going to be, people are going to think they're lower than dog shit. I think that that's going to be a fun game to go to, just because the atmosphere is going to be intense. Because that's one. I'm not going to jump ahead of myself, but that's one that we'll talk about. But Arizona State, I think they lose.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Arizona State has proven me wrong. I think they're showing that they are a program on the rise. They weren't just a Cam Scattaboo show last year. I think there's more to them. So kudos to them.
So last home game, I think Texas, like I said, Texas Tech is, let's say, top 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's the excitement for Morgantown. It's going to be probably a night game. Texas Tech, usually has West Virginia's number. Unlike Texas, where West Virginia could beat Texas, Texas Tech got up, always seems to be able to handle the Mountaineers.
Mm-hmm.
This is one where Rich Rod can have a signature win. This would be his Virginia Tech circa 2003. Yep. This would be where it would leapfrog them, even if they only have 2 wins and they just end up at 5 wins. If they win that one, it could either get them to a bowl at 6 wins, or even if they had 5 wins with the Texas Tech win, that springboards them into next year with recruiting, a little bit of love, a little not feel on a high point. If they get crushed at the end of the season, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad because that we have that taste, that feeling, that stinging in our backside up until, we're going to be talking about in, spring ball, how Texas Tech laid one on West Virginia and what could have happened. That's West Virginia's bowl game on the 29th, Saturday, right after Thanksgiving, guys. That's West Virginia's bowl game.
Essentially that could be, Shane, but here's the thing. If they win it, we go to a bowl. That is if we win the other games that we have a solid chance at. I completely agree. I think it's going to be between Texas Tech and Iowa State probably for the championship. But I think this could be a trap game essentially for Texas Tech. I think they are going to come in here looking for the Big 12 championship game. I think they're easily going to look, even if we're, even if we're 5-6 at that point, I think they're going to be looking past us. I think Rich knows exactly what you just said, that as far as recruiting, as far as anything goes in this game, you're only what you did in your last weekend. So the notion of Rich pulling out the cards, no, Rich would do that 100%. Rich, who was famous for not showing all his cards, no, they're all coming out. That, and I agree with you about the bowl game comparison. Just like when you see in bowl games, you see teams pull out plays they haven't run all year. You're going to see that in this game.
Yeah, let's go to the chat before we close it. I think that's we're spot on. I think that is where we're focused. That's the bowl game for Mountaineers. So don't get your hopes up if you have 2 or 3 wins, 4 wins on the season. That game is going to be a big one. So we got Afton saying, hi, Bubba. Sky's limit. We are not going to a bowl. I agree. I don't think we're going to a bowl. But that is West Virginia's bowl.
Yeah.
If we get 2 wins, I'll be happy.
Well, I think the upper end is the toilet bowl in East Tennessee Valley somewhere.
Yeah, sky the limit. Sky is the limit. You are spot on. I think they're going to have 5 wins. I think 5 wins is going to be the top, the watermark. That's going to be where it's at. But with that, another great show. A lot of fun. We got Bubba in the house, so Steelers Dynasty Podcast. That's my sister show. But I'm going to put this banner up one more time for you guys all. So, Mondays, I do the show right here with Eric. And we try to be optimistic after getting thumping. It happens. Talk about Steelers football, have some fun. 9 o'clock every Monday. See you there. Also, on Thursdays, we do a little show called The Voice of College Football, West Virginia Call-In Show here at Voice of College Football. That show, if you want to pop in, we put our invite down in the message, and you guys can just click in there and come in, and you can be a superstar for 2 minutes. Not that we're superstars. Spirit fingers. So, Eric, what are your thoughts?
For anything?
Friday.
I can't wait to see. For those who aren't familiar with BYU, I know this is going to sound a little ridiculous. BYU Stadium and just the setting, in my opinion, this is going to hurt for me to say, we have the second best venue. BYU has the best. Their stadium is gorgeous. Yeah. It's going to be a great thing. It's kind of like when you're playing a video game and you're looking at the setting. It's going to be great. It's going to be crazy. Get together with some friends. It's going to be, the game starts, I think, at 10:30 here. So invite some friends over, get the Red Bull out, make a pot of coffee, buy that extra spicy pizza. Maybe the heartburn will help you stay up late. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. And again, if nothing else, get the notebook out, start taking notes to see what we can build on. I think right now, that is the thing to be doing. See the talent that we have to build on. See which plays we're running, because Rich has been mixing in some new plays, and I got to say they're really good. He's showing why he's an offensive genius, because right now our offense is really struggling. He's thrown in a few plays that have been here and there that have been really good.
Now, Caden the Diesel Freak has called in a show, and he's an Ohio State fan, and he called in last night to a show that is new on the Voice of College Football. That is the girls show. There's 2 ladies that are doing their sports show here in the Voice of College Football. So tune into that. Caden called in, and he was giving him what for. So Caden, for you, Thursday, 8 o'clock, give us a holler. Okay, we'll be here. Jackson Johnson. It's called The Ladies of College Football. I couldn't think of it. I've written down, but I have to get in my notes here. The Ladies of College Football. Guys, I don't know where they found, I went to Mark Rogers and I said, listen, let's get a co-host. And everybody was split on. I said, how about a lady? And they're like, no, Shane. But they found two. And it's the ladies of college football. Check it out. They know what they're talking about. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. So here it is.
And now you know how they settled for me.
No, I didn't settle for you. We're like peas and carrots, you know?
That's right.
Jelly, you know, it's just different. Like if you put peas with peanut butter, it just doesn't taste the same. Yeah.
So, hey, Shane, just real quick, I want to give a shout out. It's Coop is always here throwing out great stuff. Afton is always here showing us, some love and throwing out great comments. Curtis is here. Kelly, great community here. Thank you all.
And if you haven't chimed in the chat, please do, because that gives us a little bit to kind of know who's here, what your thoughts are. And literally, we have like kind of little outline, but we go way down rabbit holes. And if you guys throw something at me like squirrel, I'll get distracted, and you could dictate where the show's going. I can't guarantee it'll be for the best, but hey, that's the show we have tonight. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna see everybody off with not the countdown. No, not the countdown. Let's do. We'll do the countdown. Let's change it up a little bit. So, good night, Eric. Good night, chat.
Night, Shane. Night, folks.
Have a good one. Bye. Bye, all.